J.J. McCarthy made NFL history last night against the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll share with you guys that stat coming up on today's edition of Vikings Out by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, but on today's show, telling you guys why J.J. McCarthy has the chance to be that guy and that franchise quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I want to address something first, because in the postgame show, a lot of comments saying, oh, Patrick, you're flip-flopping on J.J. McCarthy. You were talking about Joe Burrow this past week, and now you're saying he could be the franchise quarterback. What's going on? Listen, if there is a Joe Burrow rumor out there, if there is a Lamar Jackson, a Patrick Mahomes rumor out there, it is my job to cover it and to talk about it. And obviously with J.J. McCarthy, it wasn't me saying he was in Jamarcus Russell territory. It was the stats. His play during that middle stretch of the season was so bad that even me, being one of the biggest J.J. McCarthy guys out there, I was starting to wave my confidence a little bit. But the last 2 weeks, this guy has been effing awesome. He has been straight nails at the quarterback position. I'll be showing him a bunch of love on today's show. So hopefully you guys can, bear with me with the flip-flopping takes that, I may have. But if you guys want to show J.J. McCarthy some love down below, type that jersey number, type those 9s. Now when I hear 9, I don't have PTSD from that post-game or from the press conference he had earlier on this season. So if you guys want to show J.J. McCarthy some love, type those 9s down below. All right, let's look here at J.J. McCarthy's spray chart from yesterday. Absolutely unreal stuff. He was hitting the deep shots. He was taking the easy ones. All these people saying, oh, J.J. McCarthy can't throw it to the left side of the field, or that touchdown to Jalen Naylor would prove otherwise. But he was awesome. Getting the ball out quick, making some big-time throws, attacking the middle of the field, using his legs. He truly did have one of his best performances of his NFL career. But yesterday, it wasn't just one of the best performances of his short NFL career. It was one of the best performances by a quarterback this season. Shout out to Next Gen Stats for tweeting this out, saying on dropbacks longer than 2.5 seconds. J.J. McCarthy completed 10 of 14 passes for 187 yards and a touchdown, producing positive EPA for the first time in his career. And McCarthy's plus 17.3 EPA on those dropbacks were the 8th most by any quarterback this season. So not only a great game for J.J. McCarthy in his career, but one of the better quarterback games we have seen in the NFL this season. And we talked about the Commanders game last week as why I didn't want to say, JJ's for sure stamped as a franchise quarterback. Oh, he had a great game against the Commanders. He is for sure that guy. I thought the last weekend's Commanders was a great building block game. And he took that Commanders game and he built on it against the Dallas Cowboys. And you're looking at his numbers the last 2 weeks. This is top 10 quarterback in the NFL stuff. 2-0 record, 73.3% adjusted completion percentage, 448 total yards, 6 touchdowns. That one interception, kind of fluky, not in love with him getting a lot of his passes bad at the line, but that stuff's going to happen in the NFL. And then the passer rating, sitting at 120.3. This guy's playing some awesome football. He has been fantastic, and what he does so well that I don't think people give him enough credit for is pushing the ball down the field. I think people view JJ as a very limited quarterback with a limited arm, and that's just not how I view this kid. I think he's got sky-high potential. The zip he puts on a lot of these passes, it really does remind me of Matthew Stafford. Now, he's got to very much improve, the touch throws, the layering the football, which he did yesterday, and we'll talk about that. But JJ passed the sticks against Dallas, 66.7 adjusting completion rate, 164 passing yards, 4 big-time throws, and a passer rating of 142.4. Unbelievable stuff. One of the best quarterback performances we saw pushing the ball down the field last night. And also on the big-time throws side of things, J.J. McCarthy actually leads the NFL in big-time throw rate at 7.7%. Actually, another national champion quarterback is actually number 2 on this list at 7.2%, that being Joe Burrow. But clearly, J.J. McCarthy, he makes big-time throws. That arm talent is there. He's got crazy, crazy zip on the ball. And again, it's going to come down to, can he start layering the football better? Can he also, is get better feel in the pocket, keeping 2 hands on the football, just those little things, which he has shown, some improvement week after week after week. But also the history that J.J. McCarthy made, I was shocked by this. But J.J. has thrown multiple touchdown passes while rushing for a touchdown in the same game 3 times this season. And no one in NFL history has done that 3 times in their first 8 games, which is crazy to say. That even Mahomes didn't even do that when he had a great start to his NFL career, when he won the MVP award in his first year starting. But J.J. McCarthy, that's awesome stuff. I thought he passed the eye test yesterday. He's clearly making some history here, and he has just had such an up and down, first year playing quarterback in the NFL. And I think the thing I love the most about him is no matter how low he's getting, no matter how high he's getting, he is the same dude. He is just himself through and through. And that first pick, you get a ball batted at the line of scrimmage. It falls in the lap of the defensive tackle. You're playing the Dallas Cowboys in prime time, Sunday night football, on the road. Some young quarterbacks that could derail their season. And also one thing I do want to say about McCarthy and having a young quarterback in the NFL. This is not a situation where JJ is playing with the, Tennessee Titans, for example, or the New Orleans Saints, or some of these teams where they just play meaningless football. Even though the Vikings are eliminated from postseason contention, this is still meaningful football he's playing because they got guys in that locker room who are making some big-time money. Vikings obviously have the most expensive roster in the league, and it's not like JJ can just hide. Like, everybody has eyes on him. Everybody in this organization, he's playing for his job. Like, guys like Tyler Shuck, Cam Ward, these other young quarterbacks, Jackson Dark, they're not playing for the job. They already got that locked up for next season. Even if Cam Ward, he's been flat out horrible this year, but nobody's really watching Titans. Nobody really cares what they got going on. But in Minnesota, JJ was playing for his job, and he's risen up to the moment, time after time again over the last 2 weeks. And this was pretty funny. Kevin Seifert tweeting this out saying, low-key a wild post-game sequence. Kevin O'Connell, in his own way, made it clear he did not like J.J. McCarthy's Griddy-like celebration, scoring in quarter number 2. McCarthy said he did it in practice and was told not to do it in the game, which made him even more determined to do it. And this is actually what J.J. had to say, saying, I did it in practice, and I was told not to do it. So just me being who I am, it's like, oh, now I'm even more enticed to do it. But if that's open, obviously just get in the end zone no matter what and be coachable and do what my coach says. And listen, this guy's just very easy to root for, man. And like, he is just so authentically himself. He is a little corny. He is a little bit of a nut job. He is a psycho competitor, but it's almost like, what Kevin O'Connell's been talking about, like, hey, JJ, just be yourself. Go be who you are. Don't try to be anybody else. That's who he is. You had a chance to hit the Griddy in the end zone. And also, the thing I love about JJ hitting that Griddy in the end zone is because if you're a player on the Cowboys defense and you just saw JJ McCarthy, who has been the joke of the NFL season, hit the Griddy on you in your own stadium, mocking you, like, that's got to sting a little bit. But he's just an easy kid to root for, and I thought this was awesome. They had the first responders entering the Cowboys Stadium last night in the Dallas area, and J.J. McCarthy was out there just dapping everybody up. Like, that's just who he is. Like, he's just a really good dude, and it's just, it's awesome to see him finally succeed, considering, like, you had, even people like me, who's the biggest J.J. McCarthy out there, questioning if he can be the guy because of how bad he's played, so far this season. But the last 2 games, he's been awesome. And one, I don't know if I want to call this a concern or one downside to last night's game, is just his connection with Justin Jefferson. Shout out to football, or F-ball, analyst YT, tweeting this out, saying J.J. McCarthy was 13 of 16 for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns with a perfect passer rating, targeting everybody besides Justin Jefferson. But when he was targeting Jefferson, he was 2 of 8 for 22 yards and a pick. So clearly him and Jefferson, they don't really have that connection so far, but it does make sense. Like, Jefferson, he was dealing with a hamstring injury all training camp, and then he finally gets back in the fold. J.J. McCarthy gets hurt, so they really haven't had a whole lot of time to build that connection. I mean, we've seen J.J., he's got a great connection with Naylor. He's got a great connection with Addison and Hawkinson. He just needs to get on the same page with the best receiver in football, Justin Jefferson. And also, Jefferson didn't help him out. He had that one bad drop yesterday, but it will all be good. But if you guys could hit that subscribe button today, we're trying to reach 68,500 subs. Appreciate everybody who subscribed last night on the channel. But if you guys are new here and want to stay up to date on everything around your Minnesota Vikings, hit that subscribe button today. We just need 157 more subscribers to hit that next milestone. All right, coming up next here, I went back and I watched all of J.J. McCarthy's throws on the All-22 version earlier on this morning. So I want to get you guys 5 takeaways I had. But before we do so, I got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, it is the holiday season, and it's the best time of year for sports. You got bowl games, basketball and football matchups, playoff pushes. It is all happening at once. And when you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, and that is Prize Picks. And if you guys download the Prize Picks app today, plug in promo code CLNS. We'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, Prize Picks is super simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players' stats. And if you guys get your picks right, you could cash in. So get in on the action. Prize Picks is now available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. So download the Prize Picks app today and plug in that promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, so some takeaways I had from McCarthy's film versus Dallas Cowboys. I think number one, for me, just his improved feel in the pocket. I think, like, obviously he showed some big time flashes yesterday. He's taking care of the football. He made some big time throws, but the thing I love the most is just how comfortable he felt in the pocket. Now, obviously Dallas, they weren't able to get home yesterday. He had a lot of time to throw the football, but he always had two hands on it and just felt like his, footwork in the pocket has improved a lot, and even him just buying himself an extra half a second, like that one deep throw to Addison. You did have pressure coming off Brian O'Neill's side, beating the right tackle a little bit, but he just kind of moved his feet a little, uncorked the deep ball. You just felt like his feel in the pocket, like when he needed to step up, he did. When he needed to evade the pocket, he did that. When he needed to stay strong in the pocket, he did that too. So I thought number one, which is a huge improvement from what it's been compared to the past couple of games, his feel in the pocket was awesome, man. I think what is so encouraging for Vikings fans and why you guys should be excited is, like, I think he really does have top 5 quarterback potential. Like, that one throw to Naylor, there's not a lot of guys that can make that throw. Rolling out to your left, you flip your hips, and you completely send a frozen rope 40 yards down the field to the back of the end zone to Jalen Naylor. Or also, when he released that ball, Naylor's not even out of his break. Naylor's just turning his head, then the football's right there on him. I mean, it was truly a fantastic, fantastic throw. And I think he does have top 5 quarterback potential because we've seen this kid already develop so much this year in only 8 games starting so far. Imagine what he's going to do with the full offseason. Imagine how good he's going to be once he fixes those mechanics, once he finally gets that back leg planted on the ground more instead of kind of having that kind of follow through a little too much in his throwing motion. Like, once he shores that up, like, I think this guy can be awesome. And, number 3 for me, the touch throws were great last night. And, we knew coming out of college when he was at Michigan, JJ, touch throws, learning the football was definitely one of his weakest spots of his game as an NFL quarterback. And to be a great NFL quarterback, you got to have those touch throws. Like, I thought, like, Dak Prescott, for example, he's got some of the best touch throws in the NFL where he's just fitting it over his own. But JJ yesterday, like the one throw to Hawkinson over his left shoulder, that was a beauty. The 1 4th and 3 throw, maybe I didn't do a good enough job of, like, highlighting this throw, but it was 4th and 3. Vikes are down 6 points, 23-17, and you're in Dallas territory. You don't pick that up. Vikings probably don't win this game, but he threw a beautiful back shoulder to Jalen Naylor. Also, give Kevin O'Connor credit. I thought that was a beautiful play design. So the touch throws were there, but also he took the easy ones yesterday. Like, a couple of times where it would be 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, and instead of JJ, like in weeks past, you'd just be constantly trying to push the ball down the field. He would just drop it off to Aaron Jones. He would drop it off to Josh Oliver. He'd drop it off to TJ Hawkinson. Where instead of you being in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, all right, now you're in 2nd and 4. Now you're in 3rd and 4. Now you have easier conversions on 3rd down. So I thought him taking the easy ones was key. But a negative from yesterday, even though I thought it was all positive, mechanics are still an issue. And it's not going to get shored up during the season. This is going to be an off-season project. I mean, whether you're a basketball player, you're trying to change your jump shot, or you're a golf player and you're trying to change your swing, like, changing your mechanics midway through the season can be very challenging. But, the broadcast compared him to Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen used to flick that back leg up all the time, and now Josh doesn't do that whatsoever anymore. And that would just limit the turnovers. That would limit the bad throws he would have. Like, once he shores that up, everybody, like, this guy can be a very special quarterback. He's made of the right stuff. He's clearly a clutch player. Even when he was playing bad football earlier on this season, he still made the clutch plays late. Like, I mean, that Bears game, he was horrible throughout the entire night or the entire game, but then still late in the 4th quarter had a game-winning drive. Like, this kid's got a lot of potential, but I thought he just really impressed me, man. He was, he was awesome, and I understand, like, oh, it was just the Cowboys, oh, it was just the Commanders. Yeah, that is very true. I'm excited what he's going to do against a good defense down the stretch with the Lions and the Packers, but he just is having building block games. That's really all we can ask for, because also this offseason, like, if JJ looked terrible for the rest of this season, and he had a bad game against the Cowboys, what are we talking about the quarterback position? We're talking about them going and trading for Mac Jones. We're talking about them, potentially going all in for Burrow. And I'm not saying, like, oh, the Vikings shouldn't be interested in Burrow anymore. Like, if Burrow wants to come to Minnesota, you get Burrow to Minnesota, but it's also not a bad fallback option to let a 22-year-old quarterback develop. And, he just showed me a lot of potential last night in Dallas. But if you guys made it to the end, hit me with those skulls down below in the comment section. We'll get on out of here. As always, Skol Vikes.